This is day 482 documentary series from Zero to a Millionaire. And look, I tried making fancy shots. I tried putting my camera here, there, and many other places all around this room. But because I have only one source of lighting and zero budget, I'm gonna try to record it the simplest way possible. 10:20 p.m. in the evening. It is Monday, March 16th. So there are a couple of things that I want to mention. First of all, again, looking at the graph, looking at the trend that we're following, we are not doing as good as we could have done. So today is 16th and we have only 1, 2, and 3 things done by now, and I'm vlogging at the moment. So the main topic which I sort of wanted to discuss before pressing the record button is relationship between me and my mom. While I was praying the last prayer of the day, which is Isha prayer, I was thinking about this thing that in May of this year, 2026, I am going to have my second semester of my college begin. And for you to sort of understand, I watched a lot of videos about going to college or not going to college. I watched a video by Alex Harmozy. A lot of wealthy people, a lot of people with great amount of money and great amount of authority that they have in some way or another. And in every way possible, the answer is if you are going to something as great as, for example, Ivy League, this kind of high echelon that it just doesn't make sense anymore to fail, because getting into those colleges is already a pretty damn huge win, and even dropping out of those kind of colleges is gonna get you pretty far. And this is the paradox, because if you are going to get into this kind of colleges, the way they filter out, you have to be successful by the time you apply. Well, that's the weirdest thing, because you have to have already made some amount of startups, have made a successful exit in some kind of startup and made some money. And it just doesn't make sense. You're only 18 or 19-year-old. You're just not gonna physically manage to do all those things. And the reason why you're applying is in order to gain the knowledge and the resources which are then going to allow you to accomplish these dreams. That's at least how I think college should work and function. College should help you to achieve those dreams. It should not be this whatever the heck it is right now. If we simplify the answer super, and it's better to make your own research because I don't know your circumstances. For me, going to any random college, and for a lot of people in the world, I think, because a lot of the countries in the world are third world countries, it just doesn't make sense, because we're gonna be left off exactly where we were before we were getting into this college. A lot of times we are lying our way to getting a diploma, and in some very corrupt countries like mine maybe, you might even bribe to get your diploma, so it gets pretty wild very quickly. The only logical way is applying either to Harvard or not going to college at all. In February of this year, I made a video called 19-year-old paying for his mom's surgery. I spent something around $900 giving to my mom so that she can spend it on paying for her surgery. I didn't have a lot of money, to say at least. I am not a millionaire, and $900 was definitely a lot of money. So I made a transfer to one of my debit cards. I gave the debit card to my mom and said the password and said, here you go, use it. That was a moment of proud. I, alhamdulillah, was proud of myself that I could have afforded something similar. I wanted to get a 9-to-5 job, save up some amount of money so that me and my co-founder then later can use that capital we save up to get out of our home countries, move to UAE with better infrastructure and conditions, where both of us can first of all meet up, second build our business together and not on a remote. What I am trying to say, I was checking my balance on that debit card that I gave to my mom every once in a while. After a long period of time, I finally asked, because she didn't spend a dime from that money that I gave her. It just didn't make sense, because she did everything which was required, went through surgery. I think it was like 2 weeks after she had a surgery, or 3 weeks after she had a surgery. And I asked whether she paid, and she said, yeah, blah, 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 and I just understood one thing at that moment, that she probably just spent her own money, which she might have had, and she's just keeping my money, and that's it. So nothing really bad was going on. I still wanted to just my money to stay on one place, and she had a surgery. So win-win, like everyone was happy. But then I think exactly one day later, the next day, she withdraw the money from my debit card into cash form, and that was the day I was a little bit pissed off. But then that same day evening, she comes back and tells that, first of all, she comes back with a lot of groceries. I understand logically that the way she spent those 900, it's my mom. She's not gonna spend it on dumb shit. She's gonna spend it on paying for gas bills. She's gonna spend it on electricity bills. She's gonna spend it on groceries. I understand it. Why am I telling this? Is because I talked about the university at the very beginning of this video. One of the things that she said that evening when we were having a dinner is, I paid for your college today. Okay, I understand paying for gas, I understand paying for electricity, I understand buying groceries, I understand paying for the mortgage of the home, almost everything, because I use that hot water as well. I am living in the same house. She paid for that months of mortgage. But college was just not the thing that I wanted to pay for. Okay, to be fair, I was willing to give the money back they spent it on my college. The problem is, in the moment you are charging it. The moment I needed the investment and I needed the capital the most, taking it out of me was a horrible decision. Okay, I don't know what she was thinking about. I don't wanna villainify anyone. I'm pretty sure that my and your parents want the best for both you and me. Again, $900 is a lot of money. I am guessing that she didn't spend all of that money all at once, but a pretty huge chunk of it. So 500 out of 900 went probably to paying my college fees. I wanted to ideally spend those $900 on myself. We need the investment. It is pretty clear. We work those 9 to 5 not to hang out, not because I like the girl, not because any other reason than gaining capital. We didn't even gain any knowledge out of those places. And I'm talking about both me and my co-founder. I don't think I learned anything from my 9 to 5. I genuinely think that I spent my time, and in return someone gave me money, because the job I was doing, it still was a clerk job. I was answering DMs on Instagram, just to be clear. My co-founder was a salesman. He was selling courses or something like that. We didn't learn anything necessarily new, neither did we excel in what we already knew before. We literally exchanged our time for money. There's nothing really bad about it. We were genuinely going for it. But yeah, just think about this. You as a son, that's the thing about being a man that I really love, is that we unite in one of the simplest things, which is responsibility of being a man. Even if you're in America, or you're in China, or you're in Europe or Central Asia, we have the same problems. I want to take care of my mom. I want to take care of the house. I want to become the best version of myself. I want to be strong and rich, and I want to find a good woman, and etc, 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 right? So the paradox, which I hate, is that part of me wants to give that 900 away, and part of me doesn't want to give it away. Because if you think about it, those 900 weren't necessarily spent on any bad stuff you can name. But I needed it so I can go to abroad, I can invest this money into my business, I can probably buy a better laptop. There are many ways of investing this money in order to get ROI. And yeah, the paradox of being a man, especially when you're young and when you're growing up in a third world country with a single parent. Okay, peace out.